Hey, Chief Holloman here with No Exceptions Leadership and the new fire officer. And I wanted to discuss briefly the importance of sweating the small stuff, if you will. In our profession and in leadership in general, they've written books and articles about don't sweat the small stuff. And there's some value to some of the antidotes that are provided in those suggestions. However, I would argue the point that as leaders, as officers, as those who are responsible for others, not only as membership, as subordinates, or as a community, that it's critically important that we do sweat the small things, that we give proper attention to the small things. And there's two reasons for that, I think. Number one is that when we're dealing with people and actions and behaviors and attitudes, small things, seemingly small things, ultimately will turn into bigger things. Now, there's not a pre-designated timeline when that happens, but the more that we don't give attention or credence to small indiscretions, small flaws in attitude and behaviors that are the small stuff, the higher likelihood that that member will eventually have a bigger problem or a bigger challenge that now requires discipline or worse. And so our job as leaders and officers is to sweat the small stuff. And typically it's a simple conversation, a discussion, a small correction at that point. It's the difference of, doing something small when it's really easy to take care of, as opposed to as that boulder rolls down the hill and becomes a bigger snowball and a bigger snowball and a bigger snowball, and something that maybe we couldn't imagine happening happens due to a lot of these unattended and unaddressed small things. The other part of that is that I look at a baseball team and we look at they go out and they take ground balls and they take fly balls and they do batting practice. And batting practice isn't at full speed. The ground balls are rarely at full speed. It's that muscle memory. It's the small things that over time they're able to increase speed, increase effectiveness, increase all of the things that the game speed is going to require of them. Those routine, seemingly small things add up over time as an accumulation of habits and muscle memory, and it prepares them for the diving ball that they're going to have to make, or the big play that they're going to have to make. And for us in the fire service or any profession, it's the habits that we create. Are we dressed for what our profession requires? Are we on time? Are we giving intimate attention to the smallest details of our craft and profession so that we don't have to worry about those little things that we would call little things, but just ask Boeing right now how little things can get in the way, seemingly little things, a couple of bolts, right? And the lack of attention given to quality. And we can't let ourselves get to a point to where it's all good. We don't need to address this or that. Now, there is a difference between addressing small indiscretions, challenging behaviors and attitudes at a low level, and just being nitpicky, right? There should be a reason for everything that we do. But with that being said, I believe attention giving where it's needed and required at the first sign as a very kind of benign conversation. Hey, you need to go do this. Hey, don't forget to check that. Hey, did you get this taken care of this morning? The small things, looking over their shoulder. You're not indicting them for simple uniform infractions or whatever it is, but there is, if you will, somewhat of a responsibility of those habits that translate to other habits, that we don't let the little things slide at any level in our organization. So my challenge to you is sweat the small stuff appropriately with the right type of approach and keep the big things from happening. You may just protect one of your members from making a big mistake down the road somewhere by sweating the small things now. All right. Take care, and we'll see you soon on the next version of No Exceptions Leadership and the new fire officer.